It's almost Thanksgiving. I'm Becky Kiser, Hays Post Eagle Radio News reporter, and we're talking turkey with Monique Koerner. She's the Family and Community Wellness Agent with the Cottonwood Extension District. It's all on this episode of the Hays Post podcast. So one of the things that you wanted to talk about is the staple for many people's tables at Thanksgiving is the turkey. And of course, that has to be cooked generally, depending on where you get it and what you're going to do. But we're going to talk about some safety tips. And one of the things is we want to be sure that we're keeping bacteria away, and you have to be careful about what you're doing.
Yeah. So I thought we'd just talk today about some tips on keeping your Thanksgiving meals safe. Sometimes, we let things slide. We've got family around, and so sometimes we get to visiting and we don't always think about, keeping our food safe. And these are often the questions that we get at the office as well around this time of the year, just about, how long does it take to thaw your turkey, how to thaw your turkey, temperature, time and temperature, just things like that. So that's why I thought maybe we talk a little bit about keeping your turkey safe today. So first of all, with thawing your turkey, there are 3 safe methods. So we want to make sure we're either thawing it in the refrigerator, cold water, or microwave. And of course, if you're thawing it in the refrigerator, you need to plan ahead a little bit. So
it takes longer.
It does. It does. But it's also less work too, I guess, with planning. So if your turkey so you want to allow about 24 hours per 4 to 5 pounds. So for example, a 4 to 12 pound turkey would take 1 to 3 days. A 12 to 16 pound turkey would take 3 to 4 days. And a 16 to 20 pound would take 4 to 5 days. So, and it can stay in the refrigerator a little bit longer. So if you want to err on the side of caution, you can leave it in there another day or two. The second one is cold water. So just allowing 30 minutes per pound and change the water every 30 minutes. And then you want to cook it immediately after thawing.
That's what my mom always did. That's what we did at our house.
Yeah.
Throw that turkey into the sink.
Yes,
and put the water over it.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do that if I get it out and it's still, if I've had it in the fridge and it's still a little frozen, as you're taking out the insides and stuff. Sometimes I'll put it in some cold water if I discover that it's still a little frozen. And then the third one is the microwave. I have never done this before.
Me neither.
But
who has a microwave that big?
Right.
It would have to be a smaller turkey.
Yeah. So, maybe just for smaller turkeys. But again, following your manual for size, power, and time, and then cooking immediately after thawing, and you can't refreeze or refrigerate. So that is an option too. It'd probably go quicker. But again, it wouldn't work very well for a large turkey. So.
And you talked about removing the insides. I do remember a couple of Thanksgivings where somebody forgot to pull the giblets out.
Yes. Yeah. So for those, maybe the new people that are cooking Thanksgiving dinner for the first time, there's your heads up. Make sure you check the inside and pull out whatever's in there, the neck or the giblets or whatever. So yeah. The second thing that I thought we'd talk about is roasting your turkey. So we do want to make sure we're setting our oven to at least 325 degrees or higher. Lots of times we get questions about whether to, have the stuffing in there or not. Best practice would be not to put your stuffing in the turkey. It's safest to cook it separately. But stuffing must reach 165 degrees, just like the turkey. And then with the turkey, you want to make sure that it reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit and use your digital thermometer to check in the innermost thigh wing and the thickest breast. I think in years past, we've talked about like the little thermometer that pops up on the turkeys.
Used those.
Yeah, I think those are helpful maybe to see if it's getting close. But I would, once that pops, I would go ahead and start checking, with your digital thermometer to make sure it's at 165 just in case it malfunctions or something. So that would be the safest bet, and then letting your turkey rest for about 20 minutes before
That's
carving.
The hardest part because it smells so good.
It does.
And you want to dive in. So you should, in addition to the thickest part of the various parts of the turkey to check that internal temperature, you should also do that with the stuffing then if you have it in the cavity of the bird.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah. So make sure you're checking temperatures for all of those things.
So how long do we need to cook?
So it just depends upon the size of the turkey. So a smaller turkey, 8 to 12 pounds, would be about 2 3/4 to 3 hours. 12 to 14, 3 to 3 3/4. 14 to 18, 3 3/4 to 4 1/4 hours, and it goes up from there. So, and of course, if you're cooking it from frozen, it's going to take about 50% longer as well. So, so that would be for an unstuffed turkey. So you'd probably want to plan longer cooking times if there's stuffing in there. So, I like to use those plastic bags, and then it goes a little bit quicker.
I've had good luck with those.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they brown nicely. Also, if you don't use the bag or just sticking the turkey in the oven, you can use a foil tent for the first hour or so to help prevent it from over browning. And then, maybe just some quick other tips. Of course, we always want to make sure that we're cleaning hands, utensils, surfaces, before and after contact with the bird, the raw turkey, or juices. And if you're also thawing it in the sink, you want to make sure that you're disinfecting your sink and all of the areas around there, because sometimes, they don't really say to wash your poultry anymore because that just spreads more germs. So make sure you're disinfecting your sinks after you're putting it in your bird in the water to thaw it. And then, kind of the other big thing that I think about is that time and temperature. So once, we've had Thanksgiving dinner and the leftovers are sitting out, we want to make sure that we're keeping hot foods hot, cold foods cold, and putting foods away within 2 hours afterwards. So those bacteria levels don't rise. And then, we get sick after Thanksgiving because we go back in peace, throughout the afternoon or whatever, or don't ever put it away after lunch, and then we eat it again for supper. So
those leftovers, there's nothing that beats those. Those are really good. But again, you need to be careful with the leftovers.
Just keep them safe. As long as you put them away within the 2 hours and you're mindful of your temperature, and you can refrigerate those or freeze them 3 to 4 days. Use those up, if you put them in the refrigerator. If you freeze them, use them within about 2 to 6 months.
Do you think there's a difference in quality of the turkeys, whether we do a fresh or frozen one, Monique?
I don't know. I always buy mine frozen, but I've heard that fresh is really yummy, if you can get a fresh one. So I think it just depends.
You probably have to plan ahead for those as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for the turkeys that are the big ones, those are, again, you need to really plan ahead because of there's just more time involved in it, and you need to watch that temperature more carefully, the bigger that it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. It'll take longer to thaw. It'll take longer to cook. And I would give yourself some extra time, just like I was saying earlier, if you get it out of the refrigerator and it's still a little frozen, you might want to use the water technique to thaw it or plan for a little bit more time in the oven. So, yeah.
Have you done any research into why we eat turkey at Thanksgiving? That's just the go-to for most people.
It is. I'm not sure on the background of all that. I'm sure I learned it in school at some point, but...
Well, we talked about it before we went on air, and I immediately switched into English lit major, history major mode. And
did you find out something for us, Jeff?
I did find something out for us real quick. We got about 5 minutes left here on the segment here, but we can talk about this here real quick. It's actually still debated to this day on why we started making turkey. I would assume it's probably because of its abundance in over in the UK and over here, especially in like the New England states. But some people do credit Charles Dickens' novel A Christmas Carol, released in 1843, for creating the turkey on Thanksgiving and Christmas sentiment, because that's what the characters in the story ate. Now, turkey at that time was a pauper's dish. It wasn't like a luxury item or anything like that. And, if you're familiar with the tale, Bob Cratchit is, not exactly well off to be able to get it. But there's also a author named Sarah Joseph Hale. She's a historic author that published a novel in 1827 called Northwood, where there is a chapter about Thanksgiving in New England. And all the meals that she described in that chapter had turkey in them. But it's not the main point of her book, but her campaigns got to Thanksgiving to become an official holiday here. And finally, of course, there's President Abraham Lincoln in 1863, who published what him and his family were eating in the White House, and it was turkey. Yeah. So that made it the official or spread the official awareness for
kind of a tradition turkey. There, a long tradition
kind of thing. So,
what year did Thanksgiving come to be a holiday?
Let's see here if it says. It does not say in this article that I found here, and I don't know that information off the top of my head. When did Thanksgiving?
Well, when you said that about President Lincoln or whatever, so it must have been before that. But
yeah. Let's see here. 1863 is when it became a national holiday. So yeah, it was it was President Lincoln.
President Lincoln.
Who made
Okay.
who made the proclamation. At least.
Well,
when
he's famous for all kinds of things because we have him to thank for our land grant university system too.
Oh yes.
K-State was the first land grant university in 1863.
However, it didn't become a permanent federally recognized holiday until 1941.
Okay.
With FDR. So
FDR.
Roosevelt.
Okay. I thought about him too. So yeah.
Monique, I also wanted to ask you if people have questions. I know there's you hear about the Butterball and other places that are famous for the turkeys that they produce, and they do have hotlines on Thanksgiving Day. Even if you have some questions.
Yes. Absolutely. So we usually suggest people call the USDA Meat and Poultry Hotline. It's just 1-888-MP hotline, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Or you can also email them or check the website, which is www.fsis.usda.gov. So those are the resources that we usually give to people because, our office won't be open.
You will be eating turkey at home.
I will be, yes.
I have to tell the turkey story in our family real quickly. One year, my sister made her turkey, and she set it outside to cool off, to make that process speed up a little bit. And then when she checked on it, there was a dog that had it in its mouth. It must have been a big dog, just carrying it down the street.
Yeah. Don't put your turkeys outside. Don't set your leftovers outside. Yeah.
She's never done that since. That is our family story. We have to laugh about every Thanksgiving.
I will throw in a caveat on don't put your turkeys outside. Take them outside if you're frying them.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The amount of videos that I see pop up every single year about, and especially do not fry them frozen.
Right.
Because that makes the oil react a lot more violently and,
kind of blows up.
Yeah. You see them all the time online, people failing at deep frying their turkey. And that's a popular way to.
What's supposed to be so, do they taste better that way? I've never had it. So
it's fat.
Yeah,
so it's going to taste better.
It adds that little extra layer of crunchy skin on top and everything too, just like frying a chicken.
Which we didn't talk about. Turkey is actually pretty healthy for you, unless you stick it in a vat of lard. But it's a good lean meat.
I could eat that year round.
Yeah. Yep. So if you're being health conscious over Thanksgiving, eat plenty of turkey.